This bandit war affecting the rich and poor. I see in this bandit world frustrating the boys and girls. You don't have to be a capitalist to be on the wanted list. The operation is well uptight, and the mugging black is white. 50,000 US missing in a party. I want to know who did we money. Anthrax north and anthrax south. This thing spreading all about. Last week I drinking with a girl in town. As I put on my wallet, it's gone, it's gone. Well, look she there, look she there, look she there, look she there. Hold she, don't let she get away. They say crime rate is high. This you must not deny. Well, don't talk about bank robberies, pickpocketers and motor car thieves. So if you're gallerying with watch, diamond rings and gold chains, sister, well, if you got touch, to the law you must not complain. Them new buses they buy is waste. It only breaking down all over the place. A brother never had a grouse, and just so you kick him out the house. A magistrate make the street. He gets 17 years, he out already. Well, look she there, look she there, look she there, look she there. Hold him, don't let him get away. Bandits, yeah. It have bandits everywhere. Man, I sure you get the talk. Every day it's a crime in New York. It have bandism in government. It have bandism in parliament. And don't judge me wrong. See them walking bout in gong. When your husband was walking with ham and jam, as they retrench him, you're on the man. And when they can't get the things they want, they lock you inside a bluebird trunk. I hear how they break the weed. They thief the US but leave the TT. Well, look she there, look she there, look she there, look she there. Hold him, don't let him get away. Hi, hi, hi. Hi, hi, hi. I'm getting fed up. I wonder when this bandism will stop. It's an international setup, and don't doubt it coming from the top. So what about the people? Their whole life now in trouble. The facts I have to declare. It seems mankind living in fear. If a leader working for mere dollar and cents, and in England he have big apartments. They decrease on blue soap and saltfish too, and just so we pitch lake devalue. If 3 musketeers start to get frightened because their leader sleeping with the devil, well, looky there, looky there, looky there, looky there. Jail him, don't let him get away. Oi, oi, oi. Hi, hi, hi. Oi, oi, oi. Hi, hi, hi. I see the bandit. It was a tall, tall bandit. I see the bandit. A small, small bandit. I see the bandit.
Voices from the ghetto, crying, 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 Lord, Lord, crying, crying. Voices from the ghetto, crying, 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 Lord, Lord, crying. Voices from the ghetto. Help us, Father. Just hold it head on ball, and them woman stronger than a wall. A big pusher eyeing she daughter, son in jail for manslaughter. Too bad for he and them bad boys. No bail, that's the black man's choice. Like Shadow say, poverty is hell. She little girl child belly start to swell. Some say life is a cycle, but don't draw she no circle. Where will it all end? Only time could tell. Outside the siren keep howling, inside your belly will growling. Police raid very often, Simpson measuring a coffin. One night in bed you're sleeping, next night is a wake that you're keeping. So you're praying to win the lotto, not to hear voices from the ghetto. Crying, 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 crying. Voices from the ghetto. Crying.
Cry from the ghetto. And the way on them like they don't care about the money. Pick the vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. No, we got to try, pick the vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. For the youth them.
Blessing, good afternoon to each and everyone. Welcome to Facts Not Fiction. Today being Sunday, it's as good as any other day. So let me welcome you first of all, regionally, locally, and internationally. Welcome to Facts Not Fiction. And today, ladies and gentlemen, firstly, I want to endorse fully Kamla Persad Bissessa. Yes, as the leader of this party. My support is fully behind Mrs. Bissessa. So let's get that clear and let's get that out of the way. So no need for nobody to call me and ask for any support, all right? I think we're clear on that. Secondly, as we get into today business, I want to ask the PNM General Council. I also want to ask the women's arm of the People's National Movement, if all you believe that all you could distract us on this side from the real issues in this country, I want to ask you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, if you would allow yourselves to be distracted by the narrative that is now being portrayed by this woman's arm and the executive, the General Council of the PNM. I want to tell my friends and my colleagues on our side, let us not be distracted by any form of distraction that will emanate out of the house of the PNM. I want to tell my friends and colleagues on this side, do not be distracted. You see, the PNM, ladies and gentlemen, have their social media bloggers. They also have the national press and television houses, as well as radio stations. And they will stop at nothing to try to save their financiers, which in this case is the PNM. They will defend every lie, every form of corruption, every dishonest act by the PNM, the media houses, as well as the editors, will defend every ounce. A matter of fact, they will also try to seduce you, the public, into believing a narrative, a defense that they use at every interval that they are being caught. They use a defense to hoodwink, to turn the national conversation away from the real issues. And that defense is the football, the ball of race. So I want to tell you something here this afternoon. You, the PNM, cannot distract me. You can't distract me. You know why? I was a very good goalkeeper. My record is still with Point Fortin Civic Center. I gave the story where I was called to the national team, but because of poverty, we weren't able to go to train in Port of Spain from South on a daily basis. But why am I saying this? I am saying this so that you can understand that as a goalkeeper, you cannot afford to be distracted. Because if you are distracted, ladies and gentlemen, then it shows that you are weak and incompetent of doing the job as a goalkeeper to defend your goal from the opposite side. And therefore, I would not be distracted. I will not. While you people believe that the conversation ought to be where or whether or not Camille Robertson Regis get her name, you see, the conversation should be where Camille Robertson Regis get $143,800 allegedly that she cannot give account for. That is the conversation. That is where the conversation must be. What is the position with the $143,800 allegedly that Miss Camille Robertson Regis cannot give account for up to this day? That is where the conversation must be. The conversation must be, ladies and gentlemen, what about the special branch report that have so many allegations? A matter of fact, allegedly implicating Foster Cummins. That is where the conversation must be. What about the $4.4 million that the financial institutions in the TTPS had to flag because it seems as though that all is not above board, and therefore an investigation into Foster Cummins' account with Venture Credit Union, PICAL, and other businesses that is allegedly associated with Foster Cummins. I am saying that is the conversation that must be going on today. Ladies and gentlemen, the conversation must be about Keith Christopher Rowley, integrity forms with that Inez Gate, and the $400,000+ off that he got upon purchasing that unit. He, his wife, and his daughter. That is where the conversation must remain. Ladies and gentlemen, I am saying today that the Judith Jones report tells us that there are about 85 children who have been abused and continue to be abused, those who were murdered by the hands of their abusers, and yet today conversation in this country is about some idiotic name of Camille Robinson Regis, and the conversation will not remain on Keith Christopher Rowley and his minister who kept that report silent for over 5 months while our children continue to be abused in this country. That is where the conversation must be. The conversation must be, who is that short PNM MP? That short PNM MP who continue to abuse children in this country. Hello, Keith Rowley. Are you listening? We want to know, who is that short, stocky individual that sits within the PNM cabinet? That individual, we want him to be exposed. You see, people in this country, you people like so much akanka and bacchanal and old talk, that the real issues which affect life and livelihood, that is not important to you. That is not important to you. Old talk is important, but we want to know, ladies and gentlemen, who is that individual that was described as one of the #1 abuser. You see, in this PNM, I tell you, they are sick individuals. Let me put this on record. Let me put it on record. A man have the right to choose what kind of life he wants to live. But a man have no right to choose to abuse our 10-year, 9-year, 11-year-old. Omar, come. Come, Omar. Stand up right here by your father. This is Omar Roberts. Tell them how old are you?
10.
10 years of age. Go back, son. Let me tell all you something. Let me tell all you something today. All you abusers in the PNM, all you child molesters in the judiciary, coming back there, you know. All you feel like you could distract Victor Roberts. All you child molesters in the PNM, I want to ask Camille Robinson Regis to make an announcement, to call a press conference and tell this country that you, Camille Robinson Regis, will do all within your power to bring the abusers of these little children to justice. That is the conversation that Camille ought to be carrying on. Carry on a conversation, Camille, that you will use your ministerial portfolio to protect our children, something that your prime minister refused to do for over 5 months. 5 months. These people the Judith Jones report sitting on a shelf while our children, while your daughters, while your sons are being molested sexually, and while these predators have fun and enjoying the pleasures of their selfish, wicked minds that is set within their system, that an animal, a dog on the side of the road, have more conscience, more integrity than these judicial officers, together with these Piedemites, those who sit in the cabinet and molest our children. You folks, you are animals. Don't come here to try to change the conversation. You are dirty animals. How dare you? How dare you? How could you, who sits in the highest office within the legal fraternity, and those of you who sits in the parliament and make laws to put our citizens in prison, while you judicial officers preside over the sentencing of individuals, but at night you commit the most heinous, wicked, cruel, selfish, dirty, nasty act of abusing our children in the wee hours of the morning. Animals you are. Judicial animals. Political animals. And the Prime Minister would sit for 5 months allowing the abuse to continue. And when he is caught protecting those, his friends, those who he keeps and put in office and put in high position, even though corruption allegations and special branch reports continue to surface even before he appointed them into position, yet he will ignore and put them in position. It's a clear case of putting cat to watchman your cheese. Ladies and gentlemen, 5 months, a report of a sensitive nature, a nature of abuse in homes that is being paid to operate by the state, abuse in homes where religious organizations ought to ensure the sanctuary of these young people. But to the end of the day, if we cannot trust the religious organizations, then where are we in this country? We know that we cannot trust the Keith Rowley administration. We know that we cannot trust the judicial officers. We know that businessmen also participate in the wicked evil. But yet to the end of the day, the Prime Minister and Webster Roy and Camille Robertson Regis and Stuart Young and Alwari and Foster Cummins and Sinanan and Nobrega, Minister Man, the whole PNM cabinet, Beckles and the whole team will sit and allow this man, and Webster Roy to put away the Judith Jones report, shelf it, while our children, your children, my children, every mother that brings forth a child understand the pain and agony before that life comes out into this world. And you should be paining. It should be a painful thing just for you to think and imagine what these kids continue to go through. Yes, still going through, because that thing you see on the screen, he is now saying that a task force would be put in place to bring recommendations. I would have believed that this man, Keith Rowley, immediately would have called out the army, the Coast Guard, the prison service, the police, everybody. Pick a team. Put them to protect these homes from these predators. But Keith, let me ask you a question. Keith. Since you say, Keith Rowley, that you are the head of the National Security Council, and you said, Keith Rowley, that you will have information that the average man would not have. So I am asking you today, Keith, tell us the names of the PNM high-ranking officials, the judicial high-ranking officers, ex and present, the businessmen, the homes that facilitate the letting out and the bringing in of the rape of these children. Tell us. You see, I want to say something here today. It's not only Malcolm X, Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, Victor Roberts, and others who have names from our European leaders. But why some of us have the names? I want to tell Trinidad and Tobago that the real slave masters in this country is the PNM. Take it as it is, because I don't afraid to give it real. These are the real slave masters in this country, the PNM party. They're the ones that continue to whip you, to beat you, to take away a livelihood, to take away your jobs, and very soon they will be taking away your property when you cannot pay your property tax. Think about it. Think. All you're studying old talk. Well, I have some news for all you today. There is a gentleman from abroad who we will be interviewing very soon. And trust me, all you better stand by for that live, Keith Rowley. Stand by for that live. This gentleman here, that watching all you on the camera, I think very soon he will be saying to you, the people, who is that man with his back turned? And I want to ask a question. I want to ask if that man with his back turned was also one of Ken Valley partner. I want to ask if that man with the back turned is Keith Rowley partner. I want to ask if that man with the back turned is Fitzgerald Ethelbert Hines. Yes, Ethelbert. You know why I call him Ethelbert? He flew from so many ministry and can't make nest in none. Every ministry he flew from can't make nest in none. So Ethelbert. I want to ask if that individual with his back turned, I want to ask if that is John Jeremy Friend. I have a next name. I have a next name. But I ain't ready for that name yet. I ain't ready for that name yet. That name will come soon. You see, my leader always make it quite clear. Hear what she say. She said, what in the dark does come in the light. And it have plenty darkness in the PNM. That the problem is not that will come to the light, you know. What is happening within the PNM now is the light going and shine on them. So even though they're hiding in the darkness and the wickedness and the cozy corner and they are abusing the children of this nation, the light going and shine on them very soon. Very soon. But you see, I have a question to ask. I want to ask Keith Scotland. I want to ask Keith Scotland, what have you been doing for your constituency? I want to ask Keith Scotland that question. Actually, if I picture put him up there, if I could see him and ask him, go be better. I will feel good asking him. I want to ask Keith what he is doing for his constituency. Now I saw him sometime with the minister man somewhere down in that corner, sometime in the night. I see them, some people running them like dog and telling them, go from here, boy. But wait now. But this man, all right, he have a nice little short dreadlocks. He have a mole by his nose. Forehead little biggish, little big forehead. But he looking strong, boy. He looking strong. Keith. Keith. Oh, Keithos. Keithos, what have you been doing down in your constituency, boy? Yeah. What are you doing down there? Tell me now, tell me what you're doing down in your constituency. Now I see it down there. But you know, come in to think about it. The night when I saw he and Minister Man down there, you know, I can't remember I ever see You know, I can't remember ever seeing Keith Scotland with a girl. I can't remember. But I know them short, stocky fellas and them that have some nice girls. Eh? They always say, here what my mother used to tell me, ugly boys that had nice girls. So Keith, I sure. Somewhere down in the back there, I sure him maybe have 2, 3 nice girls. You know the other here, Anil, let me call Anil Roberts your name, let me bring him here. I hear Anil Roberts saying the other that he can't remember seeing Ethel Bird with some kind of a woman. He never seen with public, you know. You know the PNM have a way. They like to show up the girls and them in front. Even though they ain't living good, even though they home break up. But I remember, you know, coming to think about that, I remember there was allegation about Ken Valley. They say Ken Valley used to share licks too bad. But every time the woman come in the public, she had to smile. The other day, I watching something with Rowley and Sharon. I find they stand up together, but you know it have a kind of flow, of electricity, a current does flow. When you're in love, it have a current does kind of flow. But these days, I find I don't see that current inside the PNM flowing at all. I know why, but we go find out. But Keith, you look good. I like your little kinky dread, your little short dreadlocks hairstyle. You know you're properly well built and thing. You're strong. You're strong. But what are you doing for your constituency? Tell me. What are you doing for your constituency? Because I know a man of your character have to be doing a lot. But in Scotland, let me ask you something. Apart from defending Foster Cummins Company and all that, I want to ask you something, Mr. Scotland. What do you think about the Judith Jones report? I am asking you, Keith Scotland, do you believe that your Prime Minister should have left that report there for 5 months without acting? Let me ask you again. Do you believe, Attorney Scotland, that your Prime Minister should have left that report, the Judith Jones, that's the one with the 85 children, you know, the ring now, the pedophile business. You think he should have left that report unattended for 5 months? Tell me what you think. As an attorney, as one who I believe, I could be wrong, may probably be aspiring to become Attorney General. But I wonder why he leave you out and went and take Ammo. Keith, why Keith leave out Keith? Why Keith leave out Keith and take Ammo? Well, as he said, as the Prime Minister, he is privy to information that we don't have. So, Mr. Scotland, I am only suggesting that probably the Prime Minister probably have some information that I don't have, and probably that is why he sidelined you and went and take Amor and put him as Attorney General. I don't know what was the strategy behind it, but that is what happened. So I am asking, as an attorney, a learned attorney, you tell us if you believe that the Prime Minister should have left that report unattended for 5 months and continuing, because while the task force, as he said, have to make recommendation, I sorry for them little children behind in that home. Sorry for them. Very, very sorry. And while I'm on that, I want to ask Fitzgerald Hines, if during his tenure as a parliamentarian, whether he's in opposition or in government, I also want to ask Fitzy how good he and Ken Valley were. How close are friends was he and Ken Valley? That is what I want to ask. But I want to come back to the point here now. So, ladies and gentlemen, this pedophile ring that we are speaking about, I want Miss Regis, I also want Miss Webster Roy, as two ladies who I believe should understand what it means to be a mother. I want to ask these two individuals if they will do everything in their power to bring the perpetrators who continue to abuse these children to justice. I want to ask that. You see, plenty of those individuals sits within the cabinet of the PNM. I want to believe that is only Victor Roberts. I want to believe that these individuals would know or may very well have some idea of who these criminals are. That is what they are, criminals. Jacket and tie, PNM criminals. You know, this reminds me of Faris Alwari. I remember when Faris Alwari came to us, when he made and brought this piece of legislation where we will pay $1,000 for no mass, and then shortly thereafter we see Faris Alwari and a whole set of man, according to Anil, rubbing up on one another, muscle pulling muscle, muscle stressing muscle, muscle tying up in muscle, muscle here, muscle there, muscle everywhere in a room. And I like how Anil just put it. He said they're dribbling. He said they're dribbling on one another in a room with no mask. And they call Faris law abiding in the day and breaking law in the night. So I want to ask if it's the same thing that is happening, because you see, ladies and gentlemen, on a very serious note, I am saying that birds of a feather stay together. Let me tell you why. I said to you on the last occasion, if two kobo right on this desk and a pigeon right here, and I say shh, and three of them fly, you ask anybody what just fly there, they say, boy, three kobo, the mother and the father and the young one. That is what they're going to tell you. The mother, the father, and the young one. So let me come back to the cabinet now. Inside of the cabinet, the pigeons inside the cabinet, they will know who the kobos are. Let me say it again. The pigeons inside the cabinet, which might very well be few, they will know who the kobos are inside the parliament. They will know those who abuse our children. They will know those who have fun with our kids. They will know. But you see, the Cosa Nostra, La Cosa Nostra, it is where each other keep each other secret. So if we have 3 pedophiles inside of the cabinet here. 3 molesters. And then we have on the other side here, we have 7 thieves. And then on the other side, we have 3 who launder money for the 7 thieves. And then down in the corner, we have a next 2 or 3 who open up different businesses and washing the money through the businesses to come back here. Then everybody know everybody's secret. So those who laundering can't talk on the pedophiles. Those who washing can't talk on those who laundering. And then the little few pigeon, which might be 2, they can't say anything because you know why? It have a man in England. He will tell you why they can't say nothing. Because he tried to speak. And you know what happened when he tried to speak? There's a song. I banned my son from playing it. But the song go with some kind of gunman in wherever. When you hear you try to speak against these top high-ranking officials, you just lie down in a hospital bed nursing gunshot wounds. That is what does happen to you anytime you try to talk. So don't believe that the 2 pigeon or the 3 pigeon in the cabinet, they don't know who are the perpetrators of these gruesome acts against our children. You know, they know. But everybody holding everybody's secret. And when everybody holds everybody's secret, nobody speaks. Because if you speak, you will lie down as this gentleman nursing serious gunshot wounds. That is where it is. You see, I want to tell you people what we are faced with. You know. Let me tell you, we as activists, we who comes to you and bring the facts to you as to what happening in government, we are at risk. Don't believe that we don't know that. We are high risk. But to the end of the day, we have a motto. Yea, do we walk through the valley of the shadow of death. We don't fear evil. We don't fear evil because evil prevails when good men says nothing. And we have a responsibility to you, the people, to bring the facts to you, to bring the truth to you. And that is what we sit here on a weekly basis and do. On a Monday night, when these UNC MPs, senators, activists, and leaders, leaders, and leader, singular, stand up and speak to you. It is the facts that we are bringing so that you can understand that voting have a consequence. That is what we do. Douglas Politics, Facts Not Fiction, radio program, Atlantic program, wherever we do it, here on the radio, when we come, we bring the truth to you. We bring the truth so that you could understand what is happening with your country. And it seems as though every wind that blow you are distracted. It seems as though that every steel band that roll down a hill, that you jump in with that tune. And when you jump with that tune, you does not understand that it's the future of your children that you are jumping away from. We as people, we as parents, we have to demand good governance in this country. We have to bring good governance to this country. You honestly believe that Kamla Prasad Bisesa have to stand up or have to go back to the polls to come to represent you, Kamala don't have to do that. Don't fool yourself. Half all you talking about step down and who some idiot come up with some petition I hear and I even see it, a petition to sign for Kamala to step down, some kind of dotish PNM style kind of thing. But let me tell you something. You think Kamala Persad Bissessa can sit back with your grandchildren and enjoy the sweat that she put out? Well, you better think again. You better think again. And I could tell you why Kamala back in the ring. Kamala is back in the ring because the love she has for this country and the love she has for the people of this country. That is why Kamala Persad Bissessa is back in the ring. That is why she is there. And you examine for yourself. Kamala have brought the best policies to the table. Policies that you wicked people enjoy. Yeah, you wicked people. All of you who talking about petition and step down, wicked because they benefit. And in some cases, all they benefit the most. Have an idiot on a radio station that be talking about Kamala, and he benefit off of Kamala. Benefit. And when he can't get away, or when he can't get his daughter to take over his place, he vex with Kamala. Kamala have to go. All of a sudden, Kamala have to go. If Kamala they put his daughter, you know Kamala didn't have to go nowhere. That is how wicked and evil and devilish it is. That is how it is. Can't get away from that. So Kamala is stepping nowhere. The only way Kamala stepping is stepping in rage and walking in style. She's dangerous. Now you know that song? Coming for you, Rowley. That is what Kamala doing. Coming for you, Rowley. That is what we doing. So don't waste time. We don't have time with all you and talk. Kamala go, Kamala go, Kamala go. Kamala goes nowhere. Take that in another pipe, smoke it as good tobacco. Coming back here now. High-ranking official, judiciary. High-ranking official in the judiciary. I could remember some years ago, there was an individual, a judge. I think at that time he was a judge. And that judge name called in some kind of bacchanal with Dole Shady. I don't know if I can remember who is that individual. That individual name jump up in a real bacchanal with Dole Shady. And that official is no longer a judge from what I understand. But what I also understanding is that that official is also a part of some ring. A part of some ring, and it's not a ringtone. It's not a ring that we just play marble pitch. Here is some ring with a set of little children. That individual surfaced just the other day. Let me help all you. That individual surfaced just the other day. That individual was looking into something. I have a price for this one. I have a price for this one. Who could call that individual name will get a prize. That individual recently was looking into something. Arresting that right there. Arresting the day. Recently, that individual was looking into something. Let me give you a little bit more. Now that individual is also a real good friend of a certain prime minister. That individual is a real good friend of a certain prime minister. Yeah. A friend of a certain prime minister. A matter of fact, if a certain prime minister call him and tell that man jump, he asking how high, he jumping. If a certain prime minister call that man and say look into this, he going to be looking with 4 eyes. He normal 2 and the glasses. But I'm also hearing that that same individual is a part of a certain ring. I am also hearing that a former PNM MP I want to give you a hint about thinking carefully how to give you a hint. A certain PNM MP who had a certain ministerial portfolio. He used to dress sharp. He don't dress sharp in that way anymore. Tight pants, tight shirt, head ball. Let me give you a next clue. He from Dawe. He was an MP in Dawe, but he get licks. He get licks. I also hear that that ex-minister is also a part of some ring. All you know who I'm talking about, you know? I know all you know who I'm talking about. That ex-minister, he was in a ministry that is affiliated with children. I can't get you it more clear than that. That ex-minister was in a ministry that is affiliated with children. When I hear that man is also part of this ring that I now draw on this table here. He is a part. Let me go again. There is also a certain woman in the PNM, and that individual have been a minister since somewhere down in the 90s. Somewhere down in the 90s. That woman, from our information, from my information, is also a part of this ring that I draw on the table here. All I want a hint. I can't give you no hint about that. That woman, I can't give you no hint. I can't give you no hint about that woman. Anybody over there have a napkin on that side to dry my bald head? I can't give you no hint, you know. I can't give you no hint. But I hope Archie has some kind of napkin there where I could dry my bald head. I can't give you no hint who is that woman inside that ring there at all. I don't know. I can't give you no hint. No hint. But it look like Archie had nothing there to dry my bald head. So ladies and gentlemen, this is not no game thing, you know. This is serious business. Now, this woman doesn't like cutlass to pass over she head. So let me explain what I just said. There is a saying that cutlass man don't like cutlass to pass over his head. Or do you know that saying? A long time saying. If I miss that one, let me give you the next one. They just say thief doesn't like to see man pass with bag. Well, this woman who are talking about, who is also part of this ring that I now draw on this table here, let me tell you something. That woman cantankerous, that woman vindictive, and that woman, I can't tell you this part. I ain't going to tell you this last one. But that is as serious as a bobo. And if you don't know what bobo mean, you long time you get a white man riding scooter bicycle, you fall down, you get a bruise, you beat it, whatever, and then it make a scab, and then you squeeze it, you see, so God, this bobo ain't getting better at all. So let me tell you something. That is how serious this thing is. This pedophile ring that is existing, it is as real as daylight. It is as real with key players and key figures inside of that. Big men, big women, long-standing individuals in the PNM, long-standing individuals within the judiciary, long-standing officials within the magistracy, long-standing officials within the business sector, long-standing officials who is also in the religious fraternity. And that is where I will close off, on the religious fraternity. When we have people who profess to be Christians, first, what is a Christian? We know, of course, that name came out of Antioch. That is where that name came from. We also know that it suggests to be a Christian is you ought to be Christ-like. In other words, following the teachings step by step of Christ. We know as Christians, your responsibility, as Jesus once said, suffer not these little children to come unto me. We know, of course, that children ought to be protected by religious organizations. We know that children ought to be looked after in a meaningful way. We know that if you profess to be Christ-like, that you would not condone, you would not tolerate, you will not seduce or induce in any way, you will not be an accomplice, you will not aid and abet in any form or fashion to have our children abused. You know why? Because you are following the teachings of Christ. Now, when we look at some of these reports and we are seeing Christians, men and women, participating In this type of abuse, what does that tell us about our society? What does that tell us about the religious fraternity? And let me put all in all place one time. Let me put all in all place one time. All of you who belongs to the inter-religious organization, all of you who sign on into that organization, you are considered to be part of that fraternity. Coming out of that, because you see, everybody will want to separate themselves now, you know. Now they're going to say it's not we, it's them, and not them is we, and not we, and we didn't know. Everybody going to want to separate themselves. But you know why I can't separate themselves? Let me tell you why. Because all only are aware of what is happening. If only wasn't aware of it back then, only aware of it recently. If only aware of it recently, only aware of it now. And you know what? Only have nothing to say. Birds of a feather. All you have nothing to say. I in here church. I in here religious body come out publicly and condemn that kind of abuse. None all you. None all you in come out publicly and condemn Keith Rowley for sitting on a report of this nature for 5 months and counting. None earlier. I hear none earlier come out and condemn the administrators of that home and other homes where this act continue to happen. I hear none earlier call a press conference. I see all kind of press conference when was COVID-19. I see all kind of religious organization telling you don't take vaccine and who should take and why you shouldn't take and why you should take and all that. But abuse of children going on in this country, and I have not seen a church stand up and speak out against this wicked brutality against our children in this country today. I want to know why. I want to know why. Only remember, vaccine we seen, press conference, church this, church that, church he, church she, church me, church we, church it, church this, everything. Why we should take and why we shouldn't take and why we shouldn't take, and we believe in God to protect, but all they believe in God to protect them children, all they believe in God. All you ought to be the spokesman for God on earth, boys and girls, church leaders. All you're supposed to be the spokesperson for God. But all you're dumb is it to say all your God fall asleep. All you waiting until he wake up to talk. This kind of abuse, mashing up our children physically, spiritually, mentally, psychologically, and every other lead that go with it. Not my lead. And all you're quiet, all you have nothing to say, shame on all you. Shame on you church leaders who sit idly by while our children are being destroyed in this country by big men and women that you folks look up to, that you people collect money from. Shame on you folks. Shame on you. Shame on you good night. A matter of fact, today I am calling for international bodies to come to Trinidad and Tobago to investigate this pedophile ring simply because of the high-ranking officials in strategic institution where nothing will come out of this Judith Jones report in this country. Wicked set of people. Good night. Shame on you. Before I go, some of the church leaders more wicked than the people who commit those acts inside of those rings, because God command you in the scriptures to speak out against evil. God, wicked, wretched people. Remember to join the Monday Night Forum tomorrow, 6th of June, 7 p.m. sharp. I out.
What they hear? No running water from year to year. Hearts that no one desire, that if there is a Messiah, someday he hear their whispered prayer. Covered always bare and scanty, 10 people in a one-bedroom shanty. Forced to sell on the pavement, no vacancy, no employment. Blood does flow when things get hot. Afraid to look out the window to hear voices from the ghetto.